Here's the winter storm that's set to impact us. Snow, sleet, freezing rain. I'm zeroing in on what your town could see and when.
A person caught on camera leaving a popular Raleigh bar right before it burst into flames, where the investigation stands right now. Then, did deputies steal generators in western North Carolina? What WRAL PolitiFact uncovered in our fact check.
Well, enjoy the next couple of days of sunny weather. It is going to be beautiful because we have some snow in the forecast on Friday. Thanks for joining us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Dan Haggerty.
And I'm Ashley Rowe. It all gets started late Friday night, and by Saturday morning, it could be a bit of a wintry mix. WRAL's Mike Mays is in the Severe Weather Center. Mike, we've been talking about this. A lot of people are looking forward to it.
Yeah, and it looks like the snow drought that we've had for over 1,000 days out at RDU is about to come to an end. And for some of you, it came to an end last night with snow accumulating for parts of Vance County and Franklin County. The last measurable snow at RDU back in 2022 in January was about 0.4 of an inch. Could even see more than that out of this event. We're already seeing winter storm watches issued for parts of the Southwest, for Dallas over toward Oklahoma, Little Rock, Arkansas, northern Mississippi, more in Alabama and Georgia and Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, all in line to see wintry weather. Here's how it evolves. This is the latest run of Futurecast coming together by Thursday afternoon at 5 o'clock across the southern plains, moving toward the north and east. And of course, we're going to have plenty of cold air in place, and with the moisture falling into that cold, dry air, we'll have evaporative cooling take place, which will sustain frozen precipitation. There's no big area of high pressure to the north feeding this cold air during the entire event. So what starts off as snow will gradually change over to sleet, maybe some freezing rain, and then by the end of the event in the morning on Saturday would change over to rain and then promptly move out of the area. Now, coming up in less than 15 minutes, I'll have town by town Futurecast with temperatures to show what we can expect hour by hour as it moves through Friday and Saturday.
I'm Brett Neese here in the WRAL Live Center. We're monitoring breaking news out of California, where there is the wildfires out there in the Pacific Palisades in Los Angeles. This is brand new video here into the WRAL newsroom showing you some of the response to the fire. Over 30,000 people have been evacuated from this. Los Angeles just declared a state of emergency within the last few minutes in response to this fire. Tens of thousands of people are still in the path of this fire. You can see, just look at the damage done by this wildfire. Fire officials out there who are battling it. Over 250 of firefighters are on scene trying to contain this fire. And fire officials say overnight they expect winds to pick up and things could get much worse.
Fire can be so devastating. Thank you to Brett. Speaking of the dangers of fire, there was a downtown Raleigh bar that was destroyed by fire, and now it's being said it may have been done on purpose. That's what the owner of the House of Art seems to think. This bar on Hargett Street burned down around 3 o'clock in the morning. WRAL's Aaron Thomas joining us now. One of the reasons, Aaron, that arson is being suspected here is because of what some surveillance video is showing.
That's right, Dan. In fact, we took that surveillance video to investigators with Raleigh Police and Raleigh Fire Department. It's all related to what you see behind us here. They will not say if this was indeed intentional, but based on that surveillance video, one of the owners says otherwise. Okay, so if we can explain some of what you see in the video, it lasts about 1 minute and 30 seconds. You see a woman walking down these steps here, walking away. Just within seconds, you start to see some smoke that fills the camera lens, and eventually we see that grow and intensify into some flames. This definitely took a lot of people by surprise, considering this is a popular hub for many people here in the community that are involved in the music space, the creative space. Actually, just this weekend, they were going to be wrapping up a Christmas pop-up event that gets a lot of attention. So just to see what you see here now with the boarded up windows and the charred remains of the porch, it really took people by surprise. But one of the employees that we spoke with was saying how this is simply a minor setback for a major comeback, and they're looking to get back on their feet. So far, investigators have not released any sort of identity or the name of the person that you saw in that video, but a GoFundMe has been set up, and at last check, it has raised more than $13,000.
Just to clarify here, Aaron, so the police and fire investigators, are they considering this potentially arson, or is this something that the owner of that establishment is kind of pushing in their direction, hoping that they investigate that part of it?
So, of course, that's, we've asked these questions to investigators, and we have something like this. Of course, it takes time. We, of course, want immediate responses. Based on that Instagram post that was posted by the owner, they are saying that this was intentional. It was arson, again, from the words from the owner of this bar. But investigators from Raleigh Fire and Raleigh Police, they have not outright said that. But it does make you wonder exactly, if it was arson or if it was intentional, what would be the reason behind it? So certainly a lot of unanswered questions that we want to continue pushing with investigators, and also working on speaking with more people who are affiliated with this beloved institution.
You bet. All right. Thank you, Aaron.
Let's roll through some of today's big headlines. Here are 5 things you should know right now. An argument and crash in Carborough are connected to lockdowns at 3 Chapel Hill Carborough schools. Police say an argument started between 2 groups of people in cars near Smith Level Road. Police said one of the cars sped away, crashing into a nearby apartment building. Carborough High School was among 3 schools that went on a soft lockdown as a precaution. The lockdowns lifted around 11:45. Police did not take a suspect into custody. A Durham man is charged with concealing the death of his mother. Police say Webster O'Neill Steele hid the death of 77-year-old Georgie Steele and secretly disposed of her body. She was found a month later. WRAL looked into Steele's background and found he had a lengthy criminal history, including a conviction for involuntary manslaughter. The state Supreme Court is stepping into the legal battle over the election for one of its own seats. Justice Allison Riggs, the Democratic incumbent, appears to have defeated Republican challenger Jefferson Griffin. Griffin wants to throw out more than 60,000 ballots. Today, the state Supreme Court's Republican majority issued an order stopping Riggs from being declared the winner while Griffin's lawsuit plays out. All this cold forced at least one Wake County school to dismiss early today. Students at Combs Magnet Elementary School were dismissed an hour after the day started due to heating issues. Sky 5 flew over the school during early dismissal this morning. We are learning more about the renovations coming to the Lenovo Center. A view bar will replace sections 317, 318, and 319. It's part of the first $100 million phase of renovations at the arena. The Centennial Authority's Building and Construction Committee approved the plan today. In all, the Lenovo Center will undergo a $300 million renovation over the next 3 years. The first phase is set to start this summer.
A hearing today focused on PFAS, or those forever chemicals in North Carolina drinking water. These are man-made chemicals that can be found in everything from a non-stick pan to firefighting foam, and they don't break down naturally in the environment. WRAL's Liz McLaughlin has more on what this means for your health.
Exposure to these chemicals has been linked to adverse health impacts, including cancer, and more than 18% of drinking water systems in the state have detected levels of PFAS above the federal limit. That's according to the Department of Environmental Quality. The agency held a hearing today to discuss proposed rule changes that would adopt federal standards for PFAS in drinking water. The proposed rule limits PFAS in public water systems to near zero levels for some of the most studied chemicals.
More needs to be done because there are so many PFAS chemicals that are widely in use and circulating in our environment, but this is truly a positive step. We strongly support the standards for the chemicals as well as the additional health hazard index, and think that they'll go a long way in protection.
Utilities will need to complete initial monitoring by 2027 and comply with the new rules by 2029. The agency is accepting public comment through Valentine's Day, and you can find out details about how to submit feedback on the proposed rules on our website, WRAL.com. In Raleigh, I'm Liz McLaughlin, WRAL News.
So we'd like to take your feedback here at 7 o'clock. And this week, one of our viewers reached out to us asking us to fact check a social media rumor about relief efforts in Western North Carolina. I want to read you what she wrote to us. She said, this is Patricia writing, please help to investigate the matter concerning generators donated by Samaritan's Purse that were allegedly stolen by cops in Asheville, which were intended for elderly and disabled persons who have been affected by Helene. Paul Spade checks that claim for PolitiFact.
It looks like this all started with a TikTok video that was then shared on multiple social media sites. And you can see the video sums up the accusation with this caption. NC sheriffs steal over $45,000 worth of generators from disabled and feeble hurricane victims. Now, here's a clip of the video where a man accuses those deputies face to face.
So y'all stole them. Oh, then how'd you get them in your truck? They were.
So, did the deputies steal those generators? No, there's no proof of that. And local officials say this is a misunderstanding about what those deputies were doing. That confrontation happened out in Mitchell County, located just north of Asheville. As the weather was getting colder, county leaders requested 40 generators for victims of Helene from Samaritan's Purse. That's a nonprofit headed by Franklin Graham that's based in Boone. That organization donated the generators and the National Guard delivered them to Mitchell County in mid-October. The county then asked those deputies to help distribute the generators, saying, hey, these guys are uniquely equipped to help navigate our region here. This is all documented in a public letter by Mitchell County leaders. Those guys are the bosses of those deputies, by the way. The county leaders said the deputies did their jobs, that no generators were stolen, and they said this misunderstanding was caused by what they called an out-of-town individual who was trying to get attention through inaccurate reporting. Now, we reached out to the TikToker who posted the video and he didn't respond. Still, just to double check what those county officials said, we reached out to Samaritan's Purse and asked, hey, have you gotten any complaints or reports of your generators being stolen? They said no. And they added they continue to have a great working relationship in Mitchell County. With no proof here, the Truth-O-Meter rates this social media rumor false. Read the rest of the fact check at WRAL.com.
Paul, thank you very much. Hey, a man from our area is set to play a big role in the inauguration parade coming up later this month. Here at 7 o'clock after the break, Dr. Josh McConkey will head to D.C. for rehearsals this weekend. You're not going to believe the lengths they go to keep the whole thing secure. He explains it to us in the studio right after the break. President-elect Donald Trump will be inaugurated on January 20th, and there's going to be a huge parade for this event. Now, if the parade part of it sounds a little unfamiliar to you, well, it's been a little bit of time since we've had one. We didn't get a parade when President Biden was elected, and that was because of COVID. Today, I spoke to an Air Force Reserve colonel from Apex who's set to lead a portion of the parade. We talked about the security measures for the event and why leading the way is so important for him. Joining me now is Dr. Josh McConkey. He is a U.S. Air Force Reserve colonel and physician who will be representing North Carolina in the upcoming presidential inauguration parade. First of all, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, Ashley. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so you're going to lead the Air Force Reserve element in the inauguration parade later this month in Washington, D.C. Tell us a little bit about how you got that role and what came to be.
Well, growing up, I was a band nerd, so I always loved marching, did tons of marching competitions, actually in Washington, D.C. many, many years ago. It's been 30 years now. But the 459th Air Refueling Squadron is the unit that's there in Washington, D.C. I'm a commander at one of the squadrons there. And they were looking for volunteers and then people that had some experience. And I was lucky enough to be chosen.
Wow. Walk us through what goes into rehearsing for this. I mean, this is a very well orchestrated event. And I understand that there are 2 a.m. rehearsals.
It's brutal. Actually, had I known what it entailed, I might not have volunteered to do that. They're getting us up. So this weekend, it's going to be snowing in Washington, D.C. We're going to be getting up at 1 a.m. on Sunday morning, and we're going to be marching 3 to 4 miles in an undisclosed location. They haven't told me yet. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. And I had no idea it was going to be 3 to 4 miles either. So much longer than I was anticipating.
Wow. Good luck. Why do they do it at this time? Is it just because that's when most people are sleeping? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm sure it has a lot to do with security and traffic.
Yeah.
They have not given us a reason. It's don't ask questions, just do it.
Let's talk about security. I mean, we just recently on New Year's Day had that horrific attack in New Orleans, and
yes.
You know, it has a lot of people questioning their safety at major public events. How do you feel going into this? The eyes of America are going to be on this particular parade in the inauguration day.
You know, I know they're going to do a great job at security. My wife certainly has some concerns, as do I, but Washington, D.C. will probably be about one of the safest places in the country. Yeah. So they put a lot of work into that, tons of security. And I got a 108-page PowerPoint presentation that walked through a ton of the security operations. So I feel pretty confident they've got things buttoned down pretty good.
You mentioned your wife. You've got a family in Apex,
Yes.
3 kids, and you have mentioned that you really want to instill in your children the tools and skills for them to be the future leaders of America. Oh, tell us a bit about your passion behind that.
Well, there's probably a little selfish number one. I want to retire, and we have to hand the keys to this country over to somebody. And right now, I think the younger generation has a lot left to learn about leadership and discipline and just overcoming some obstacles. And so we do the best we can with my children. And right now, as a military commander, I have a lot of influence on men and women that are serving this nation. We got 18 to 25-year-old, 30-year-olds that are doing a great job. We have lots of work to do. And then as an emergency physician, I see some of the mental health crisis that's affecting the country right now. I unfortunately see a lot of anxiety and depression and suicide, and it really motivates me to do a better job and get involved as a parent and as a community leader.
You really have such an interesting lens as a father, an emergency physician, a military commander. I mean, it's really very interesting. There are a lot of families watching the 7 p.m. news here at WRAL, and so maybe what would you say is something that you try to instill in your kids on a daily basis to give them that leadership skill that maybe parents who are watching at home can take with them?
So for parents, doing something very simple, just sitting down and have dinner as a family, taking that time, showing your kids that what they do matters. It allows them to go out and make some, just be adventurous, make mistakes. When they know they can come down and just sit around the dinner table, ask them what went well for their day, what didn't go well. Was there something that they could have done that would have changed the outcome, right? That's how you learn from your mistakes. You see so many helicopter parents and lawnmower parents out there right now. That's why we have a lot of issues with resiliency in this generation. So let your kids go out there and make some mistakes, be there for them. Just sit around at the dinner table and chat about it. Give them that opportunity.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, Ashley. Pleasure.
All right. It was an interesting interview. I like that. Nicely done, Ashley. So we have
Friday.
Friday's the day. So my kids are very excited.
A lot of people are.
They're hoping that we get a bunch of snow. They can hit the sleds and stuff like that.
If it stays on track, we will see snow. It's not going to be a whole lot, and it's not going to last long. So it's one of those events where it comes and goes quickly.
Yeah.
So by Saturday afternoon, it'll all be gone. So let's take a look at the European model. Hour by hour as we go through the evening on Friday. At 6 o'clock, we're looking at temperatures in the 30s, cold enough aloft to sustain frozen precipitation. So when it begins, it would be in the form of light snow the way we see it right now. The light blue is light snow. The dark blue is the heavier snow. The pink is a mix of sleet and snow. Not likely to be a whole lot of freezing rain, not at least at the onset. And then we go through the overnight hours by 2 a.m. We're looking at snow all over spreading the area. And it's not the kind of event where the temperatures are just going to plunge down into the 20s. We've had events before where it starts to snow and then temperatures have nose dive down into the low 20s and it turns into a skating rink. That doesn't look like it's going to be the case with this. Temperatures during the event should hover between 29 and 32. 31 at Roxborough by 5 a.m., 31 in Raleigh, 31 at Fayetteville. You see the blue, which would be snow. The pink is a mix of sleet and snow and perhaps even a little bit of freezing rain. But as we head through the morning on Saturday, temperatures gradually rise. So we'll see this change over to rain. And then later in the afternoon, it's all gone. So with the rain coming down during the morning hours, whatever's on the ground that is accumulated would get washed away. And then during the afternoon on Saturday, the sun comes out. We jump up into the 40s. So it's all gone. So it would be like a ooh and ah kind of event while we're sleeping, maybe starting as early as the late afternoon hours on the American model. So we should see some snow from what we're seeing right now. Tomorrow and Thursday, we'll have high resolution model data to look at to get a better idea of what we'll see. This is what the European model is showing snowfall wise, about 4/10 of an inch in Fayetteville, about 7/10 in Raleigh, greater coverage up to the north where you could see greater than an inch, 2.7 for Henderson, 2.4 over toward Halifax County. This is just preliminary. We'll have a better idea once we get those high resolution models in, but it's looking a little more promising that we will see some snow. Cold out there right now. It's it's 35 out at RDU, 31 at South Hill, 28 at Roxborough. We're in for a deep freeze tonight, a hard freeze by 7 a.m. down to about 20 here in the Triangle. That's the forecast low. Durham 19, 17 at Roxborough, 22 in Fayetteville. And this is the first of a few nights where we'll have a deep freeze. Hard freeze likely tonight, 20 at Durham, 21 at Rocky Mount, 21 in Fayetteville. Make sure the pets have a warm place to be tonight. Check on your elderly friends to make sure they have enough heat. And then tomorrow is just sunny and cold, minus the big wind that we had today. It was kind of biting wind. 42 for us here in Raleigh. We had 41 today, 39 at Roxborough, 46 in Fayetteville. Your 7-day forecast, we have another frozen start Thursday and Friday morning, 31 the low on Saturday, the high later in the afternoon, 43. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week right now look like they'll be dry and perhaps getting as warm as 49 on Monday. The normal high is about 52. So it looks like for the next 7 days, temperatures will average out below normal and likely beyond that as well.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Hey, our one last thing is after the break. You don't want to miss that one. It's coming up in just about 2 minutes.
What a day today. Nearly 900 people got their calls in answering healthcare questions during the 5 on Your Side Affordable Care Act call-in event.
And Keely Arthur is helping you with even more help.
Things are winding down here, but if you didn't get your questions about Medicaid or the marketplace answered, that's okay. Call this number, 855-733-3711. That's the regular number for the NC Navigator Consortium. Leave a message with them and they will call you back. They also have walk-in events coming up in Raleigh, Durham, Fayetteville, all before open enrollment ends on January 15th. You can check out WRAL.com for a list of specific locations and times. Keely Arthur, 5 on Your Side.
Thanks for being with us.
Good night.